Hi, everybody. So, do you have a tech travel checklist? If you don't and you plan on traveling, we've got you covered. Ed Bott here with us. You put together a great article, Ed, to help people out here because you just returned home from a great trip, I know. Tell us where you went and what you took with you.
Well, we just spent a couple weeks, my wife and I spent a couple weeks traveling around Spain. We had a delightful time, but of course, as a tech journalist, I don't really get vacation. When I travel, I have to find a desk somewhere and sit down every once in a while and write and publish stuff. So, I brought my usual batch of things with me, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to share some of my hard-won knowledge with readers. And when I say hard-won, I can tell you from firsthand experience that there have been times when I've forgotten essential accessories, and you really don't want to do that. You don't want to leave your laptop charger at home, for example, because then you're just sitting there in anxiety the entire time. So what I've done is put together a checklist that covers the three big areas that are things I want to make sure that I don't leave home without.
So in this, Ed, I know you helped by breaking it up into three different important sections, and I want to note too, of course, as we're heading into the holidays, whether you're working or not, or whatever your travel is for, you're going to need to keep yourself entertained, powered up, all of that good stuff. So just start with this for power and what you need there.
Yeah, let's start with power. And I think the most important thing is a small charger for the phone. I sometimes bring two, but one should be in your bag at all times. And I'll tell you, I carry this one with me. This is the charger that comes with the iPhone 11 Pro, I think. It's an 18-watt Apple charger, and you'll notice it's USB-C on this side, and it has good old USA plug on this side here. You can bring any small charger. It just needs to be something that'll fit in your bag. But well, I shouldn't say any charger because you do not ever want to bring one of these. You should just get rid of these. These are the old Apple chargers, the little tiny cube. The reason you don't want to carry one of these is because it's a 5-watt charger, 5 volts, 1 amp. And as recently as last year, Apple was shipping these with new phones that are perfectly capable of charging a lot faster. What happens if you use that little tiny charger that doesn't have enough wattage is that you get your phone will take hours longer to charge than it should. So you can carry that. You can you can bring just about any charger. This is one from a Google smartphone. This is an interesting one that that I've had around. It has two. It has two ports on it, USB Type A ports on it. And so if you've got two devices that you want to charge, something like this might be useful. The thing you want to check is to look on the charger and find the volts and amps, and then you multiply those two things together and you get the wattage. And ideally, for a modern device, you want USB Type C and 18 watts of power, and that'll give you the opportunity to charge as fast as possible. Now you're going to need a magnifying glass to read those things, but it's worth checking out. That's the small charger. I also carry a laptop charger, and the interesting thing is that all of the laptops I've got 4 laptops in my office right now, and all of them are capable of charging with USB Type C. It's one of the greatest things that ever happened. They have their own power bricks, so I could use, if I bring a Microsoft Surface, I could bring this power brick, but why should I do that? Why should I bring that big bulky thing when I have this amazing little device from a company called Moo? It's called the Moo One, and it has 45 watts, supports the USB Type C standard, and the little plugs pop out like this, and then I snap them back in, and you look how thin that is, and it's incredibly light, and it fits right in my laptop sleeve. So I've got that. For some trips where I know I'm going to be at in the same place, sitting at a desk for a while, I'll bring something like this, which is sort of a generic made in China charger. But what's interesting with this one is that it's still smaller than a laptop power brick, but it has a full USB Type-C power delivery, PD, port right here. So I can charge my laptop, and this one will do 60 watts of power. So it'll work with almost any laptop. And then it has 3 USB Type A ports down there, capable of 12 watts. So I could charge my phone and my laptop at the same time, or I could do, laptop and tablet at the same time. And I basically, if I'm parked at a desk in an office or a hotel, I just keep the cables plugged into this. I keep this thing plugged in on the desk, and I've got those available to me at any time. And then finally, there's the thing you never want to forget, which is the cables that go with those chargers. And the reason you don't want to forget those is because you'll get sticker shock if you have to buy one of these cables in an airport gift shop. The thing that you'll pay $1.50 for at Amazon will be about $15 in an airport gift shop. And the thing you want to make sure is that you've got the right combination of cables that have the plug at one end and the right plug at each end. So this, for example, is a USB Type A plug on this side. This is a Lightning connector on this side. So this will charge your iPhone. And there's like in the article, I describe the 5 different types of cables that I carry with me. Now there is one shortcut that you can have, which is something like this, which is a very cool little thing. It's a USB Type A plug on this end. And on this end, it's a little Hydra. It's got 3 different Lightning, USB Type-C, and the micro USB. So I could charge an iPhone or my headphones or a smartphone that uses USB Type-C. Now, you're not going to be able to charge your laptop using one of those. So for that, you need to have a cable that's certified to do power delivery, and it has USB Type-C to USB Type-C on both ends. But it's a lot of cables, and so what I typically do is bring along a little bag like this one, a little travel bag, and so everything just tucks neatly into it. And that's my go bag. So when I'm ready to go on a trip, I can just grab this bag and go, and I'm ready to charge up.
Ready to charge up. All right, some excellent information there, Ed. I can't imagine anything else on power, but does that do it for power, or are we moving on to keeping productive?
There's a couple other little things for power that are worth taking into account. The first thing is little adapters, and these can come in handy if a cable breaks, or if you discover that you took the wrong cable for the application that you need it for. So here's one that it will take you from, you can plug a USB Type A plug into one end, and it turns it into a USB Type-C plug on the other end. And this one does USB Type-C to micro USB. So you sort of take stock of the devices that you have and see which kind of adapters that you need. Now, when you're traveling internationally, you need a different set of adapters, and that's where this is the generic one. This is if you're going to Europe, this is your basic plug adapter. On this side, you just plug your US charger into this end, and then this part goes into the wall. So that's sort of handy, especially if you have a small power strip with you. You can just use that one little adapter, plug in the power strip, and then plug all your devices into that. But what I like about the Moo charger is that these little, the little part here that has the US plug on one end just snaps right off. And then I can snap this European plug onto it, and it swivels over like this. So I can plug that right into the wall, fold it back up here, And again, it's thin and light, and it slides into my laptop sleeve. And when I get back home, I take that off and I put the US plug back on it, and we're in business again. So that's a really handy thing to have. So that, those kind of adapters. And the one other little thing that I always try and tell people to keep in the bag is a grounded plug adapter. And so, you've got power cables that have in the US, they have that third little prong down at the bottom. And if you're visiting family for the holidays and somebody's in an old house that doesn't have modern grounded outlets, you're going to be very frustrated when you try and plug that laptop into the wall there. So you bring one of those little grounding plug adapters in, and it lets you use your grounded plug in an ungrounded outlet. So those are some of the extra power features that you can bring along.
Excellent. All right. And then the other things. Once you're powered up and you have that taken care of, what about staying productive? And then most importantly, or depending on the trip, being entertained, right?
Being entertained, yeah. So let's start with productivity. I think there's three things that help here. One is, trackpads are nice, but there are times when it's just easier and more precise to use a real mouse. So I carry a small portable mouse with me, and this one sort of fits the theme. Look how thin that is. That's a Microsoft Arc Touch mouse, and you're going probably, how does this thing work? Well, the way it works is you snap it like that, and then it's on. You can see the green power light there, and you've got two buttons, and you get to use this nice and ergonomically. And then when you're done, you snap it, and when you snap it shut, that turns it off, so it saves the battery that's in there, and you stick it back in your laptop sleeve. That can really increase your productivity. The other thing that helps, and I can talk about hard-won experience, there are so many times when I've gone to a big tech conference, and the organizers have given us free Wi-Fi. But the trouble is, if you've got thousands of people in the audience and everyone's logging on to the same Wi-Fi access point, that thing gets saturated pretty quickly, and pretty soon your Wi-Fi is either slowed to a crawl or you can't even sign into it anymore. And fortunately, a lot of conference organizers provide Ethernet cables at the table that you can plug into. You'll sometimes find the same thing in a hotel room where they offer an Ethernet cable in addition to the Wi-Fi that is available for hotel guests. But in order to take advantage of that wired Ethernet, you need an Ethernet adapter. And so I've got this little device from Dell. It's a 4-way adapter. So if you look on this side, it's got, there's an Ethernet jack and there's an extra USB port. And then on this side, there's an HDMI adapter and a VGA port. And you go, VGA? Who still uses VGA? Some projectors. If you're making a presentation, it's very helpful to be able to output VGA to an old projector. And this one is a USB Type-C device. And then this little USB-C Type-C cable tucks back in like that, and you've got this little tiny device that can go into the bag so that it's there when you need it. And then the final thing, from a productivity point of view, there will be times, I guarantee it, when you will want to transfer files. And this is especially true if you're going home for the holidays. You want to move, you've got some files on your PC and you want to give them to somebody else, and there's no network handy. So that's where a USB flash drive comes in handy, and or a removable hard drive. And what I suggest, especially if you're going home for the holidays, is download the latest version of Windows 10 and use, I've got a link in the article, and put those files, make this a bootable drive. And then if somebody needs any kind of computer repairs on a Windows PC, you're covered, you can take care of them. So that takes care of the productivity side. Now let's talk about entertainment. On this trip, we stayed, I think, at 3 different hotels, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to use the entertainment gear that I brought with me the entire time. So we didn't have to watch, I didn't have to practice my Spanish watching, watching the local TV channels. And I didn't need this, which is an HDMI cable, because HDMI cables are kind of big and they're kind of heavy. And if you've got content on your laptop and you want to, you can use this in a pinch to connect the laptop to the PC, watch a movie that you've downloaded or something. But that's a bit awkward. And instead, what I found is that I brought this good old Amazon Fire Stick with me, and it's this little guy right here. It plugs into a spare HDMI port on the back of your hotel TV or the TV in your guest room if you're staying at someone else's house. And it's got a little cable on the other end, this USB cable. You can plug it in for power. Now, every TV that we found had both a spare HDMI port and a USB port that gave it the power that it needs. But just in case, I also bring the little the little power charger from Amazon. And then finally, most importantly, the remote that goes with the Fire Stick. What was really cool about this is that we were able to watch Amazon Prime Video. We were able to we were even able to watch movies on Netflix, because Netflix and Amazon Prime get along really well there. And then finally, there's the thing that I really need. This is a transcontinental airplane flight, and those get really noisy. So I have my great big Bose. I don't have them here right now, but I have my great big Bose noise canceling headphones. So I put those on, make sure they're fully charged before you go, and those will last an entire flight. But the other thing that I keep in my little bag is this tiny pair of small, lightweight headphones. And the reason I bring those is I put them in my small bag so that if I'm out somewhere and I want to watch a video, or I need to have a little a Zoom conference call with somebody, or whatever, I don't want to annoy the people who are around me, I can quickly fish this thing out, plug it into my laptop and or smartphone, and and have a nice private conversation with people. But that's all the stuff that's in my travel bag. It seems like a lot, but with that checklist handy, it means that there's no longer a chance that I'm going to leave home without some important accessory that I need.
Indeed, or be having to pay for overpriced things there when you're flying through the airport or something like that, Ed. So that's a really comprehensive list, and we certainly appreciate it. And glad you had a great trip. And if you're going to be heading out on a trip, we hope that you will also find that checklist to be handy. Thanks so much for watching here on ZDNet.